Welcome everyone to the bi-weekly proposal review call. We have a jam-packed call today with some really exciting protocol upgrades to talk about a brand new TPP that hit the forum yesterday, as well as the review session of the final Ignite program report. We have some folks from the Ignite team joining the call today to go over the report that was posted on the forum earlier this week, and there'll also be some time for Q&A on that as well. I'll just share the agenda once again in the chat so folks can also follow along the links there. We have a lot to cover today, so let's just get right into it. First up on the agenda, we have ZIP9. ZIP9 is the V27 EVM emulation upgrade. On the last proposal review call, we had Vlad V join to give an overview of the proposal, which was great. And today we have another fun special guest joining the call today to say a few words and provide a little bit more context on EVM emulation, and that would be Porter, ZK Sync ecosystem expert extraordinaire, hype man. I don't know what your title is, Porter, these days, but that's how I think of you.
That's a great intro.
Before I pass the mic to Porter, actually, just some quick notes in regards to timeline. As you see, ZIP9 is now on chain. It was submitted on chain on Monday. Voting starts tomorrow, so you'll be seeing some notifications tomorrow when the voting window opens, and yeah, it will be open then for the next 7 days. Porter, would you like to give us a little more context or insights into EVM emulation? And if you would like to share your screen, also happy to pass it over to you. Just let me know.
I love talking about tech. You can keep your screen up. ZIP9 is probably, like, I was thinking about it, it might be like the most important like ZK Sync upgrade in all of the years that I've been here, especially for developers. Like, getting EVM bytecode equivalence correct and working is a huge deal for our ecosystem. This allows like any smart contract developer from any Ethereum chain to bring their app to ZK Sync with no changes at all. They don't even have to worry about like the recompiling or the using different ZK Sync tools or different testing frameworks. This is like a huge deal for developers, probably like the most important update for developers, in all of the years I've been at ZK Sync. The other half of ZIP9 is the F-Flunk, I don't know how to pronounce it properly. It stands for Fast Fourier Transform, if you're wondering, but it's a more efficient verifier for our ZK. And basically this just means we're gonna change our Ethereum L1 like ZK verification smart contract, and it's going to be, I think, like 30 to 40% cheaper, which directly, makes everything else cheaper for all of the users. So that's pretty cool too. I like the math side of things, but really the big one is the EVM bytecode equivalence, which is like super huge. So just one technical note, the way it works is like, we'll have both EVM contracts and existing Era VM contracts running sort of side by side at the same time. The way they interact is still like a little tricky, and you should read the docs if you're really trying to test it out. But you can deploy your EVM contracts and they'll work just like EVM contracts, and you don't have to worry about anything. So it's super great.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Porter, for providing that overview. I'm also going to drop the link to the Twitter video, or the video that you posted on X, which I also think does a really great job of providing some more kind of historical context and some more hype around EVM emulation. So I'll drop that in the chat here. Are there any questions in regards to ZIP9 or EV emulation on ZK Sync? Okay, looks like not. Thank you so much, Porter, for joining. So next on the list, we have ZIP 10. ZIP 10 hit the forum yesterday. This is to activate ZK Gateway as a settlement layer. I will pass the mic over to Alicia, who will be presenting and speaking on behalf of Stas today, who unfortunately was unable to make the call. I believe she also has, she's planning to do a little bit of an overview kind of Gateway in general as well. So I'll pass the mic over to Alicia then to go over ZIP 10.
Cool, thanks, Shelby. I might just share. Okay, don't get too excited about my presentation. It was literally just because I try to convert everything into visualization so my brain can understand it. It's very, very primitive. But basically the way that I think about ZIP 10 is that we're effectively just like turning a flag on, kind of like, you know, on an iPhone, how you flip it onto green. That's essentially what this is doing by activating Gateway. But before we think about that, just some really important context for ZIP 6, because now hopefully ZIP 6 will make a lot more sense to delegates. So the thing is that with ZIP 6, the token assembly upgraded ZK Sync to V26. And the functionality of V26 allowed for the use of a ZK chain like Gateway as a settlement layer. And so it was an upgrade to prepare ZK Sync for Gateway, but it wasn't like, there's no such thing, say, as a Gateway upgrade itself. Gateway is actually this independent, let's see if this thing works. Okay, so Gateway is a ZK chain just like Error is, or Lens, or Abstract, or so on, or all of these other ZK chains that you know, but it just has like the functionality of acting as a settlement layer. And so what this means effectively is that instead of settling on Ethereum, this means that ZK chains can opt in. It's important that it's optional to opt into Gateway and use Gateway as a settlement layer to go across, like, I guess, cross-chain through the Elastic chain. And the benefit is, like, with a normal healthy Ethereum, that it's cheaper than settlement on L1. And also there are some other benefits in terms of kind of like the inclusion of data with transactions and things like that, so that kind of communication between chains also becomes like more of a thing. So going back to ZIP 10, the way that I think about ZIP 10 is now that ZK Sync is compatible with using Gateway as a settlement layer, ZIP 10 is an approval requesting that the token assembly effectively approve that action. So there's like a couple of different actions, and that's it. So I kind of wanted to convey that the scary part is already done, and the scary part being V26, which was a major, major upgrade that I don't know if any of the ML team members can speak to how long they've been working on it, but it was like a huge achievement. And ZIP 10 is relatively straightforward in comparison, because it's basically just like turning the switch on. So the just like some timeline stuff. At the moment, the target is still to try to get this on chain by the end of the week. And if anyone has any questions, particularly thinking about, say, like the upcoming vote for ZIP 10, please let me know. And if you have any more technical questions, feel free to drop them in the chat or ask. And if I don't know the answer, I will touch base with Stas and find out for you.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Alicia. Also, always welcome to drop stuff on the forum as well. Any questions for Alicia in regards to ZIP 10 or Gateway? Okay, the visual aid was so good, Alicia. There are no questions. Love that. Okay, great. Then we will keep moving right along here. we will now chat about TPP3. It's a new TPP draft that hit the forum yesterday. This is a ZIP audit reimbursement program that Alicia will actually be talking about today. Unfortunately, no one from the foundation was able to make the call today, but given it was a very protocol development focused proposal, Alicia was involved in the drafting, so she's very well capable of giving a great overview. So I'll pass the mic back to Alicia to talk about the ZIP audit reimbursement program.
Shelby, can you just scroll down to the abstract, I think, just that. Yeah, perfect. That's great. Wonderful. So excited for this to be a TPP. It's very protocol focused. And so you'll see, I'll just jump ahead and you'll see that in the motivation section that it links specifically to the first gap that was passed, which kind of laid out the token program priorities, effectively putting like protocol upgrades and security as the kind of most important thing for the token assembly to always be thinking about when passing any type of proposal. Basically, this is a program valued at $5 million US in ZK to reimburse any effectively like core developers of ZK Sync the protocol for zips that are passed, which have related audit costs. And so audit costs might be like specific audits or competitions, or like reviews or anything like that. And the way that it works is actually really cool. And maybe Shelby, you might want to take the mic back off me after this, and you can kind of talk through the technical component of the cap minter contracts, because it's quite, I think it's pretty cool. And but it's like very simple. The idea is that there are, oh, actually, I put another visual on this one. Can we scroll down to the visuals quickly? You can tell because they're all the same level of basic, but it's me. But basically,
great.
This TPP is 2 capped minters. So there's effectively a retro from the start of January to, I think, the 30th of April, and then another one from the 1st of May to the end of December. So it splits basically before the proposal and after. And then the retro cap minter will be for a specific amount. And as Meta Labs is the only kind of author/developer of zips that have been passed and executed by the token assembly up until now, they are the kind of sole recipient of that capped minter. And so if this TPP was to pass, then that would mean that Meta Labs would be able to mint those tokens and those retro cap minters if they're able to provide invoices to the Security Council, who act as like this verification layer, and the Security Council opts not to pause the execution of those tokens or like that permission. So there's the retro cap minter, and then there's just the main cap minter, and basically it's just the same thing but looking forward, which is that anytime, okay, sorry Shelby, I'm explaining it as I go. Anytime you pass a zip, what you would do is you would deploy it. Hey, can we scroll down to the second visual? There it is. So anytime you deploy a zip, which is a ZK Sync improvement proposal for a protocol upgrade, the author of that zip would also deploy a child cap minter, which is like a very straightforward contract. It's like a template cookbook type of situation that has the parameters for the amount of ZK that they're claiming as audit reimbursement associated with that particular zip. Zips won't always have audit costs associated with them. For example, of the last 9 zips, like excluding zip 10, and bearing in mind that zip 1 and 2 would repeated with 3 and 4, there have been audit costs related to zips 3, 6, and 9, just as an example. So yeah, so what happens is a cap minter is deployed so that it is submitted, all that information is ready to go, and then information is submitted on chain when the zip is also submitted, so that when that zip is approved by the token assembly and then is later executed, that permission to mint tokens through that child cap minter is automatic, and it automatically goes to the address that is prescribed, in the contract in the child cap minter. And the kind of the check here is that the Security Council has the ability to pause the minting rights if, for example, there are any questions about the invoices or just like the general, I don't know, veracity of the costs involved. And I think that's it. I guess like the TLDR it's a security focused, protocol related TPP that has levels of automation that is open to any author/developer of a ZK Sync improvement proposal. The idea is hopefully this will be a success, but we'll see. And then because the system will be kind of proven, it will be like a simple thing for the token assembly to just kind of roll forward year on year.
Yeah, a great overview, Alicia. One thing I will add that might be obvious to some, but worth pointing out, I feel, is that there is no steerco for this program. It purely utilizes the CAP minter structure and with a bit of support from the Security Council to verify the costs for each request. But the setup is purely just CAP minters, which is really exciting. So it's a program, a distribution mechanism for this program that doesn't require a committee or a multi-sig or anything like that. So that's really exciting. This is the first time we've been able to create something like this. So that's also really cool. For all you nerds out there, I did deploy this fully on testnet. If you want to take a look at it, I'm happy to share the like overview, but yeah, any questions for Alicia in regards to this ZIP audit reimbursement program, ZARP, as I've now started to call it? No? ZARP. Yeah, I know. I like it, Dennison. It has something to it. Yeah. Yeah.
It sounds pretty catchy.
I am a ZARP recipient. Yeah, that's a cute swag idea for sure.
I have a question.
Yeah, Alex, go.
I have one comment and then one question. So one comment, I think you don't have to deploy the CAP minter outside of the proposal to give them minting rights. You could create the CAP minter within the same proposal. That might be operationally.
Yeah. So yeah.
That's the idea, is that the call data for like a given zip, say not zip 9, but if zip 9 was to be passed in like in a month, what would happen is there would be the call data for the zip itself, and then an additional call for the ZARP reimbursement within whatever that zip is.
I just dropped the testnet deployment, Alex, in the chat if you want to look at it.
Alex, were you saying that so typically in the current flow, the protocol upgrade author creates the CAP minter before they submit the zip? I think what you're saying is that the CAP minter would be created when the zip was submitted?
Yeah, exactly. So that step 1 you could probably remove and include it within step 3.
So that the execution deploys and assigns.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Even more efficient.
We should test that out, because we could just create the call data as like a bit of copy paste into tally. Something to check. We can test it out. I know we have the testnet tally too, so that's kind of cool. We know this flow works, but we haven't tested the the kind of monolithic like single call data in a little bit.
And then the question I have is around the retro minter. So what is sort of the reasoning for, like, how is the Security Council supposed to enforce that the minting's only done for a given invoice if they don't control the minting role?
So the amount for the main capped minter, so the amount is basically kind of segmented roughly a kind of like assigned it across quarters, but then also try to take into consideration like the technical roadmap of ZK Sync that's been posted in the last couple of months. And so there is like a tentative amount. Yeah, so that there is a tentative amount there. And before this goes on chain, the invoices to that amount for zips that have been passed will be confirmed with the Security Council to confirm that that amount is able to be claimed before it goes on chain.
And what is the main reason for not sharing that with like the delegates for voting?
Sharing.
The invoices.
The invoices for the previous ones, you mean,
Yeah.
Alex?
And also going forward, like the invoices aren't shared publicly, they're just shared within the Security Council. The reason was because of just like business, kind of sensitive business information being shared publicly on forums was something that audit providers didn't feel comfortable with. And given kind of the, I guess, like trusted nature of the Security Council and the context and expertise they have, and also that if anyone goes rogue, they're still accountable to the TA and can be removed. We thought that this was like a sufficient, solution.
Alex, just a question for you. If there was basically a validation message from the Security Council confirming this, is that sufficient trust for you that this was actually the right receipt amount?
To be honest, I don't really want the Security Council signing additional transactions with their keys that they.
Oh no, I don't mean additional security. Alicia, I'm just wondering whether the current trust model is sufficient, Alex, or if it's not, what if you have a alternative point of view or anything.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It is definitely tough. I don't have an alternative to what you guys have. I do obviously I could see, as a delegate, I would want to have as much verification on my end to make sure that things are being used appropriately. It's not like I don't trust Matter Labs or the Security Council, but that extra level of trust through transparency is always appreciated and gives me more peace of mind with my vote.
Are you saying, Alex, that you need the invoice beyond the amount after the Security Council has confirmed that the invoices correlate to the amount specified?
Sorry, Alicia, I didn't quite get all of that.
Are you saying that you would still feel uncomfortable with, say, voting in favor of a ZIP that has a ZARP reimbursement if there's an amount specified for a number of tokens, and that those tokens have been, I guess, privately verified by the Security Council, and the Security Council, say, posts in that forum thread to confirm that? But is it that the invoices aren't shared publicly? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know the security model of the Security Council for invoices. So I don't know how to answer that off the top of my head. Who picked the Security Council? Did Matter Labs have a hand in picking the Security Council? Can Matter Labs remove people from the Security Council? I don't know that stuff off the top of my head, but those are the questions I would ask to see whether that is sufficient.
Maybe if I just take 10 seconds to see if I can alleviate your concerns. But effectively, the Security Council was a governance body that was set up at the launch of governance, and the ZK Sync Association was primarily responsible for the launch of the token and for the setup related to governance. And so Matter Labs absolutely is familiar with many of the members of the Security Council and may currently or in the past have engaged them for services. And but in particular, so in my role at the association, I had a lot of involvement selecting the Security Council members and responsible for kind of the day-to-day running of the Security Council. And I would say that in terms of accountability, if the Security Council doesn't approve an invoice that Matter Labs has submitted or things like that, I get what you're saying about that, and I think that maybe there might be an opportunity here to create whatever kind of public documentation around the policy is. I definitely haven't got to that stage yet. just trying to get this on the forum. But I don't know. Does that sound like something where, you know, it could involve delegates so people can share their concerns, and we can make sure that we try to like tick all the boxes to come to a process that makes sense for the auditors and the developer and the Security Council and delegates. I think those are all the stakeholders.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I'm just curious because
Yeah.
you know, like as a service provider to DAOs, like typically when we do work, the price we get paid by the DAO is like public within the proposal. So to me, it's like, I guess it's different for auditors. They are more sensitive to that. So that's kind of where that question came from.
Let's Alicia, let's talk about it. That's valid feedback. So
Yeah.
I think the current trust model was Security Council basically posts confirming, like on the forum, just confirming that the receipt is accurate. But we can take it back and see if they'd be amenable of something else. Like, for example, we could yeah, I don't know. We discussed a couple different options. But yeah, we're trying to protect the privacy and also like make it as transparent as we can without necessarily just like posting people's billing rates, which may be privately contracted.
It's
Part of
not
the
even that.
situation.
I think it's more like the say like any account information or anything like that. Because the amounts will be still disclosed, you know. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, great. Any other questions for Alicia before we move on? We also, if you have questions for the foundation specifically, we can relay those or post on the forum, and they can get back to you there as well. No? Okay. All right, then we will move along to the review of the Ignite program final report. I will pass the mic, I believe, to Karthik.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to take it. And then anyone else in the call that's on here, feel free to chime in. So I won't review the full report and like, you know, super comprehensively. You guys can definitely read it at your own leisure on the forum. But TLDR is, as many of you saw from a couple of weeks ago, the DeFi steering committee for the Ignite program made a tough decision to not renew the program for seasons 2 and seasons 3. It effectively ended the incentives on March 17th. The rationale for this was kind of multifaceted, but really, I think it kind of distilled down to 3 kind of key reasons. One is, like, as ZK Sync has evolved, even from the beginning of this program, like, we're much more focused on like the Elastic Network, you know, over Era. And Era's kind of role in this was to serve as the liquidity hub for the Elastic Network. But given that some of the interop timelines have changed, it didn't make sense to kind of keep running this program and building meaningful liquidity on Era in a world where interop wasn't live yet. And so there was kind of a timing issue there, which is kind of reason number 2. And then reason number 3, as you guys all in the industry know, the market is it's been pretty bumpy over the past couple of months, and we want to just be much more conservative on spend. So that was the rationale for dialing down Ignite. I think overall, I would say the program's performance, I think overall was pretty positive. I think it was a great start and initial TPP for ZK Sync. I think the design spoke to the fact that we were able to be very iterative in our approach, which included like adjusting mechanics, adjusting incentives, and also like the ability to kind of to effectively terminate the program if we had to. So I think those were all like really positive things with the design. Overall, like when the program was on, like the DeFi TVL performed really well. we doubled our season 1 target like within the first month. Trade execution like also meaningfully improved in the program-a-thon. We had slippage meaningfully reduced on stable to stable and stable to volatile pairs. One of the things we wanted to focus on with the program was to meaningfully increase our native USDC. Previously, we had very little native USDC and a lot of bridged USDC. So we really grew that, and you can look at the stats in the report. Just to touch upon a couple of the challenges. I think there were kind of maybe 2 big challenges that we saw. One is we still struggled with getting inflow from other ecosystems. So a lot of the program's benefit was taking assets that were already on Era and putting them to work, which is great. It's a net benefit, and we're still seeing residue of those things existing that didn't exist pre-program. What we struggled with is just making people attracted to bridging their funds onto Era and doing things. And I think this is kind of probably a topic for a longer conversation, but I think it's just a fact that even with marketing budget and other campaigns we ran, it was hard. We struggled with getting inflows. And then also because the program got terminated earlier than anticipated, we didn't have a chance to really create those demand side loops that we wanted to at the end of season 1 and into season 2 to kind of create a more sustainable ecosystem. So once incentives were paused, a lot of the progress on DeFi TVL and price execution more or less round trip to where we started. So those are some of the kind of challenges. There's some stats here in the post about budget and kind of what we did on costs and how much was distributed. There are also some good learnings here for the DAO on kind of like just mechanisms we can improve. One of the things we're also doing with Ignite is we invested in some core infrastructure that we think will be really helpful for future TPPs that's ongoing. Like folks from Factory Labs who I think are on the call are going to be helping us with this. So I'll pause there. Happy to take any questions, but that's kind of a quick run through over like what worked well and what didn't work as well with Ignite.
Thanks, Karthik. Any questions for Karthik or the Ignite team?
I was just gonna do overall like comment that I know shutting down programs is hard and something that's actually not an industry standard. I'm personally really glad that we did, you know, the DSC, like you guys like did actually raise it, and collectively, you know, we looked at the situation and said, yeah, okay, this is the right decision to move forward, because I do think that it sets a precedent around, yeah, take big swings, iterate, and also if that big swing didn't like pan out, the strategic context changed, have the courage to actually like pull the plug and not fall into the sunk cost fallacy. So just an overall shout out to the team, and like appreciate the support and moving through the discomfort of looking critically at a program and then deciding to do something that, you know, I think all of us would have loved the program to be a success, but really like the market changes, context changes, strategy changes in general. Like, I do think that it was the right decision.
Any questions? Yes, Stephen.
Yeah, so I just want to echo Ross's sentiment here really quickly, and I think that's something that's really important to look at with Ignite, even though it is unfortunate that Ignite ended early. The DAO has taken a lot of very valuable lessons from this, and just to like echo what Ross has said, like the Ignite's flexibility and ability to adapt and change things on a bi-weekly basis, I thought was very innovative and awesome for a large-scale DeFi incentive program like this. And I remember when Ignite was first starting out, one of the biggest concerns that people had was, hey, we really don't want to see an Arbitrum STIP 2.0 here, where tens of millions of dollars is spent, and then it is just like it poof vanished into the ether kind of thing. So the ability to adjust and course correct and have a committee that is always thinking about what is, not only is the program fulfilling its role that it's supposed to do, but also what is the best course of action moving forward for the entire ecosystem of the Elastic Network and ZK Sync, and also what is the best for saving as much funds as possible without just arbitrarily burning through money like governance programs tend to do, and just keeping track of everything and making sure that everything is good so that this money can then be used by the token assembly and delegates moving forward on better programs or updated programs or just new initiatives. I think that this is a really awesome takeaway that I really haven't seen in the space before. Most of the time when government's proposals are passed in other ecosystems, that money is basically gone. Like, it doesn't matter if it was spent efficiently or inefficiently. I think that that's a huge plus. And despite the fact that Ignite was canceled early, which is a bummer, we learned a lot of valuable lessons from it, and we can just utilize that to keep pushing ZK Sync governance forward. So yeah, that's really it.
That's awesome. Just to add to that, like as a program, we roughly spent 15% of the budget for user rewards, and we were very intentional, like from a DSC perspective, about being conservative on spend, even during better market conditions. And part of that was just that we wanted to be very thoughtful about how we spent the TA's funds. Part of that was to kind of prepare ourselves for all scenarios, and we also wanted to really turn on the gas when we found something that worked, and we found that there was kind of clear PMF for that use case, and obviously ideally in a situation where the market was kind of conducive to that as well. So I think it's also like to echo Steve's point, like the program design was really helpful, and the methodology and design was really helpful towards that. And so with a lot of these kind of incentive programs, they allocate 300 million ZK, like you're going to go through that, right? And so the fact that we only went through 15% of that, I think speaks to like the thoughtfulness of the design and team. So I think that's definitely a good takeaway.
Great. Thanks for adding all the context, folks. Any questions? No? Okay. Then that is actually all we had for you folks today. If there are any questions that arise, feel free to drop them on the forum post for the proposals or in the Ignite thread. As always, I will post the recording of this call tomorrow, along with some brief notes and all of the relevant links that were shared throughout the call. If there's nothing else, we will close it out here. So thank you everyone for joining, and thanks for the presenters who joined today as well. Have a great rest of the week, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Shelby.